Hello, parents, and welcome back. As you already know, I'm Erica Desper, founder of the Center for Confident Parenting and the Special Needs Collective. But first and foremost, I'm a mom who is on this journey trying to get our teenage son adequately addressed and supported in school. And that has led to my mission of trying to bring information and resources to other parents earlier in their journey and more easily. And to that end, we started offering a new feature of Ask the Expert. If you have a question, I will find someone in the community that has a good answer. And today, I'm happy to be joined by Naomi Studevan. Did I do that right? Did I pronounce that right? Okay, of Advocacy Unlimited.
Yes.
Studevan. Okay, got it. Thank you for joining me, Naomi. Just to give you a little background, Naomi is mom to one neurodivergent teenager, almost young adult, and also an education advocate. Thanks for being willing to take this parent question. So let's get to the question. I'll turn it over to you. This parent says, I'm considering a new preschool for my son with an ASD diagnosis. I think he may need a smaller classroom. He'll be 4 in December. I'm also starting my research in schools for when he starts kindergarten. We currently live in Interborough School District, which is Delaware County, for anybody who doesn't know, and are open to learning the different schools in the area. We're hoping for neurodiversity affirming locations and resources. Thanks in advance. So there's a lot of questions and statements tied into that one question. Do what you can do. I turn that over to you. What can this parent do to prep for all that?
Yes, absolutely. So one thing that I'll say is, again, I'm considering a new preschool based on the diagnosis, right? So I think that first things first, I always try to share with parents, try not to make decisions specifically off of a diagnosis, but let's talk about the symptoms and the needs. If you feel that your student, your child is in need of a smaller classroom, individualized support, one-on-one support, whatever it is that you think that they need, your first step is to make the school aware. And let's talk about the whys, right? Why does this child need this specific type of support? And that kind of takes us into looking at kindergarten, looking at other schools in the area, and again, that neurodiversity affirming school. I cannot give you a specific school because a lot of the schools that support children who are neurodiverse, they have their specialty, so to speak. So one school might have a lot of students who are ASD that are more nonverbal. So they have speech therapists on site and they have other services that are there. They might have a lot of sign teachers there. So they might work more specifically with those groups of students. Another school might have more students who are on a spectrum closer to the area that used to be considered, now it's escaping me.
High funcking?
High functioning, yeah, I'll say high functioning, and then I don't know why.
Low support needs, I think, is what we're supposed to say now. We're all working on it.
Right, exactly. So the higher functioning, right, the more verbal kiddos that more so like the social skills, right? They might focus more on that. Those kiddos are verbal, so there might be more focus on those social skills, social emotional and social skills groups. So I can't give a blanket answer as to what this mom, which school she should look at. But think about your child, create a list is what I would do is what supports do you think that they need and why? And then start reaching out to schools, going to go visit schools and look to see if they have the supports to support those needs that your student has. And I think that's going to be the best way to figure that out.
And that's such a good point, not to interrupt you, but we were recently on the school search for our son. He's 14, so a little bit, further ahead. But what we were finding, he has an ASD diagnosis as well, along with some other things, is some of the schools said he needs more academic support than we can offer because he has a math disability. We're really good with the social emotional, whereas we'd go to another place and they'd say the exact reverse. He needs more social emotional support than we can offer, but we could help with the academic. And it was a little frustrating, but it's exactly what you're saying of like autism, because it is a spectrum and because it can present in so many different ways. It really is about the strengths and needs of that particular kiddo and then the what that school has to offer. And we're fortunate in this area that there are many to choose from. That can feel overwhelming for parents, but it does give you sort of options, which is great.
Yeah, and it's good to take the child with you, right? Because sometimes it's a fit in that way as well. Are they connecting to other kiddos there when they're there? Are they connecting to some of the teachers, some of the environment a lot of times? So I think that it's really important to make them part of the process as well. Because again, when we think about IEP, right? The individualized education plan, right? We have to make sure that even when we're looking into our own decision making as parents, that we're thinking about the specific individualized needs of our child and not just looking at the diagnosis alone.
Yeah. And some of them, like you mentioned, have, OT is part of the program and speech is part of the program. And at other places, you're going to have to do that separately, maybe privately in addition to school. And that can get a little messy. So the needs are definitely important. And I love your idea of making a list because I think that can really help us narrow down, the search. Very good. Okay, I know I kind of interrupted you. Did you say?
No, I think that we kind of covered everything. I would just, again, based on what you were just sharing, as far as those additional services, is again, you want to see if they have what they need. If you already know that your child needs speech therapy or occupational therapy, some schools don't like them coming into the school either, right? So that's why we're saying with the list is going to be so important so that when you're going in to visit the schools, you can kind of check off what's needed, what's not. You can have those questions prepared for them ahead of time because you might have to find those services separately. And another piece is that then you have to also make sure that that collaboration is happening. If you have to have an outside agency come into the school, you need to ensure that they're then consulting with the teachers on what they're doing. What skills are they teaching as a service provider that should also be reiterated during the school day, right? So there's supposed to be that consultation embedded in the IEP as well and part of your child's programming. So again, that's I don't want to make it seem like we don't want to just give you advice or make a suggestion, but that's part of making sure that it's individualized. I could very easily give you 5 schools, right? And then you go to check out those 5 schools, and none of them
They
are
don't fit your
right for your
child.
student.
Yeah. Well, and
Oh,
that's the
yeah.
benefit of working. Obviously, what you do with families is work with them, one-on-one to learn their child's strengths and needs. And then you'd be able to give a better answer if you had, we can't ask any follow-up questions of this parent because the question submitted anonymously. But that's sort of, that was our advocacy experience. I encourage everyone to get an advocate as soon as they have concerns about their child, their school experience. We waited way too long to seek the support of an advocate. But of course, that is something that this, family can do. And I didn't ask you this in advance, so forgive me, but we don't need to necessarily assume that we're looking at a private school, right? Like with the proper supports, you can get what some children need within the public school system. Although I firmly believe that will require the support of an advocate. Just based on our personal experience, it may not come easily
Yes.
or quickly. But that is another place they could start, is to learn more about what supports are available in their district.
100%. So again, I've come across districts that have very good special education programs. And again, it's the research, it's the questions, right? It's looking to me, I feel like talking to other parents, right? Getting on those Facebook groups and talking to other parents who have experienced. I won't give the district, but I will share that at one point I remember my child was in elementary school and had an IEP. And I remember hearing people say, well, that district isn't good for special education. I'm like, what do you mean? Like everything is excellent. And then I found out when he went to middle school is when
Mm,
it was a bigger fight. So again, on
right.
the elementary stage, it was excellent. But
Yep.
by middle school, I had to fight a little more. I actually called on a colleague to support and advocate because it started becoming more and more frustrating with for me to play both roles
And
as
your emotions are different when it's your
and
child,
it's your
for
child.
sure.
Very
Yep.
much so. So I would say look at that. Look at it based on not the district as a whole. Start with the district, but if your child is going into elementary school, see what the programs are like in
Focus
elementary
on
school.
that.
By middle school, you might decide that you want to change and do something different. People move into different districts based on their child's needs because there are plenty, yes, plenty of public schools that have really good programs. You have to ask the questions, and as Erica said, you do want to get that advocate to force certain supports to be in the IEP so that they're implemented and your child will receive exactly what they need in that moment
Yep.
as long as the school can provide it. If
You
they
won't get anything that's not in
that's
there, and you may even have to fight for adequate implementation of what is in there.
exactly
So
it's a
thank you
process.
to our advocates for being willing to do that. I could not do what you do. I just get too emotional, even when it's not my kid. So I am in awe of the advocates. Awesome. Well, I hope this is helpful for this parent. I know it wasn't super specific, but there's a lot of really valid reasons why you can't get too specific. But of course, this parent or any parent can come find you. You can learn more. You can give more specific answers and guidance. So I will let everyone know how to find you in the comments of this video when I post it. And thank you so much. I don't think I said that you were a Delco parent. I skipped that in the beginning, but if anyone's in that area and wants someone who's in the know, that's why I chose you to answer this question, fellow Delco mom. So thank you, and I'm sure I'll have you back again to answer more. And parents, if you have a question, feel free to submit yours, and I will find someone to answer it as well. Thank you so much, Naomi.
Thank you for having me.
Thanks, parents. Bye-bye.